The Delaware 5403 form. What you need to know if you are a non resident seller selling a property in the state of Delaware. That's right. What do you need to know about the Delaware non resident income tax form that needs to be completed when you're selling a property in the state of Delaware and you are not a resident of the state of Delaware? So many people have watched my video pertaining to the Maryland non resident withholding tax. And I wanted to update you as to how a similar tax applies to the state of Delaware. So if you are selling a property in Delaware and you do not reside in the state of Delaware, so you could be a resident of Maryland, you could be a resident of DC, Northern Virginia or Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, any other state other than the state of Delaware. When you go to sell the property, the title company is going to make you and request you to fill out a form that will be filled out and then applied to the settlement sheet of the property that you're selling. So it's called the 5403 form, and it is an estimated income tax form. The way it is calculated is you take your sales price of the property you're selling, minus any commissions, minus any transfer taxes, which in the state of Delaware, the total transfer tax rate is 4%. So your half is 2%, minus any attorney's fees. And that helps you to determine your net sales price. From there, you subtract out your adjusted basis in the property and or any liens. So liens would be a mortgage. So you could subtract out your mortgage. You have your adjusted sales price minus the mortgage. And then whatever's left over, you multiply times 6.6% if you are an individual seller, or 8.7% if you are an entity, similar to an LLC, a corporation, a trust, something along those lines would qualify as an entity. So then you would multiply the proper tax rate, which is 6.6 or 8.7%. And then that is the amount that gets withheld and sent to the state. Now, if you're going to calculate your adjusted basis, you have your sales price today minus commissions, transfer taxes, minus your attorney's fees to give you the net sales price. And then you can self-proclaim your adjusted basis in the property. And your adjusted basis is calculated by taking what you paid for the property when you purchased it. You can add in the closing costs that you had at the time of that purchase. Plus, you can add in any improvements that you made to the property, minus your depreciation. And that gives you the adjusted basis. So if you're using that calculation, you take your sales price today, minus your commissions, minus your transfer taxes, minus any attorney's fees, minus the adjusted basis, and whatever is left over gets multiplied times that 6.6% or the 8.7%, depending on your ownership type. This is the form. It's a one-page form that you will complete that the title company will give you some basic instructions on. But once again, they're not going to give tax advice, and I can't give tax advice. But I do want you to be aware of this if you are a non-resident seller in the state. You'll fill this out, you'll sign it, you'll send it self-proclaimed, where you're the one that's verifying this information. There's not a comptroller who's reviewing it. That's the way it is in Maryland. In Maryland, you're working with the comptroller to correctly fill this out, and then they certify it, and then they tell the title company what's going to be withheld. In Delaware, it's all self-proclaimed. So this is something that will affect your possible bottom line and proceeds when selling a property in the state of Delaware. And it's something that I'm happy to discuss in more detail with you if you're thinking about selling your Delaware property. So if you like this information, I ask you to share it with a friend whom this may apply to, or tell them to give me a call, and I'm happy to review it with them. Till next time, thanks for tuning into the Running Real Estate Podcast, and we'll talk to you soon.